We're back on the Sports Zone. I am Mike Aglialoro. Still doing fantasy football rankings for the 2014 season. We've done running backs, we've done wide receivers, we're doing quarterbacks. Today, we're going to do a position that we've never really focused on when I do my sit-em stardom during the season. We're going to start looking at it this year, the tight end. Now, tight end is obviously a position that's never really been as potent as the other three positions that we focus on in fantasy football. But seeing as how the NFL has predominantly become a passing league over the last three seasons, we've seen the rise of superstar tight ends and two tight end sets. And as a result, the tight end position has become more integral to a team's success over the course of a fantasy football season than it was in the decade previous. So with that in mind, we're going to look at the top five, and we're going to start with the only tight end who's really worthy of a selection in the first two rounds, at least my opinion, Jimmy Graham of the New Orleans Saints. Of course, the story with him off the field is he's looking for a long-term contract, trying to avoid the franchise tag that the Saints are putting on him. He's entering his fifth season in the league, coming off a year where he set a career high with 1,215 receiving yards, career high 16 touchdowns, 86 receptions. If there's ever going to be a tight end who you put on a platform where you're comparing him to other wide receivers, it is Jimmy Graham. And like I said, he's the only one worthy of a selection in the top two rounds. Number two is going to be Julius Thomas of the Denver Broncos, another one looking for a long-term contract. He's entering his third season in the league, coming off his breakout season where he had 65 receptions, 788 receiving yards, and 12 touchdowns with Peyton Manning as his quarterback. And in that offense, if you're going to take him in the draft, you be prepared to take him in the third round. And this season, depending on how the hype goes, you may have to take him earlier. Number three, one of the most consistent tight ends in football over the last 5 seasons, Vernon Davis of the San Francisco 49ers. His ninth season in the league, coming off a season where he had 52 receptions, 850 receiving yards, and 13 receiving touchdowns, tied for his career high over the course of his career. If you want a tight end who you just know consistently, he's not going to be spectacular, he's not going to get over 100 yards in any games, but he's going to be the consistent guy on your team, solidly getting you 10 points a week, you go with Vernon Davis. Number four, a guy I know I have ranked higher than just about anybody, ESPN or Yahoo, Greg Olsen of the Carolina Panthers. In the 3 seasons he's been with the Panthers, he has arguably been the most consistent receiver for Cam Newton. The last 2 seasons he's had over 69 receptions, over 800 receiving yards. Last season he set a career high with 73 receptions. And when you look at the state of the Panthers receiving corps, you realize that Olsen could quite possibly be in for a career year just because he is the most consistent receiver that the Panthers currently have. They're going to be breaking in a rookie at the number 1 receiving position in Kelvin Benjamin, and the 3 receivers that they have behind that are not guys you really have to worry about if you're opposing defenses. So Greg Olsen could be looking at possibly a 1,000-yard receiving campaign out of the tight end spot. Number 5, he's a guy who was compared to Jimmy Graham a lot last season, and a guy who still could be on the cusp of a Jimmy Graham type breakout, Jordan Cameron of the Cleveland Browns. Last season, he had 80 receptions, 917 receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. And once again, if you look at the Browns receiving corps, with the rookie Johnny Manziel possibly being the starter, Josh Gordon possibly being suspended for the entire season, and the only legitimate receivers the Browns have being Miles Austin and Earl Bennett, Jordan Cameron could be looking at a 1,000-yard receiving campaign if the defenses don't completely stack the deck against them, which was the problem early in the season when it really looked like he was going to have a breakout season. So with that, the top 5 tight ends, once again, Jimmy Graham of the New Orleans Saints, Julius Thomas of the Denver Broncos, Vernon Davis of the San Francisco 49ers, Greg Olsen of the Carolina Panthers, and Jordan Cameron of the Cleveland Browns. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We are SportsZone. Check out everything else we got on the SportsZone from Tom Lembo, Jake Dixon, Jay Rovsky, Dave Tice, George Murphy, Aaron Hadasmi, and Gennady Burginski. Thanks everyone for watching, folks. For This is SportsZone, I am Mike Aglialoro. We'll see you next time, folks.